Hi Libra, welcome to a mid-September 2020 General Tarot Update. It's Rena here. So it feels like it's been a long time since I've done just a tarot reading for the current energies because I was doing, ones that were not really the typical ones for a little while there. Last couple of weeks, so it's nice to get back to the typical. I'm working with the Light Seers tarot deck. I think this is wow, that's really cool. Some of these cards are haven't worked with this too much, so I'm like, oh yeah, some of these cards. Okay. The heart of the matter is the Four of Pentacles. This is a card that is associated with being very good at managing your money. See how she's holding it. Could be like holding on a little bit too tightly for some reason. In some cases, it could be greed, just being too materialistic for some reason. But it could be like financial security. Number 4 is a number of stability. It's a number of Saturn. So that could be a good thing. It's not like this card is actually a very good card in the upright position. In the past position, we have the Four of Cups. So the Four of Cups, you can see the pensive look on this woman's face. And she's holding, let's see what she's got there. I don't know what the imagery is supposed to suggest, but, these are bowls that are supposed to be like cups. And, maybe they're empty because this is a card of dissatisfaction, emotional dissatisfaction. And so we have in the center the Four of Pentacles, which is about financial security, but emotional, not insecurity, but being blasé, being emotionally flat, being disinterested. The obvious first thing that I go to are relationship issues where you're with somebody who's a good provider, but the emotional connection is not there. Emotional connection to me is spiritual connection. And spiritual is not religious, doesn't mean you share the same religion and you go to church every Sunday. It means that your outlook on life is that life is more than just getting up, going to work, making money, coming home, wash, rinse, repeat. You think your life has a special purpose, that you're here for a reason, and it's not just the material things that you're here to amass. That, to me, is all it has to mean, and everything else can be window dressing, can be like differences of whether one person believes in reincarnation or, all those other things. But just the belief that we're not just our bodies, we're not just our physical experiences and all of that, but we have something else going on. And Libra is a sign that is kind of like, you can be, I don't want to say trapped between two worlds. You're air sign, so air is not, weighted down by the mundane matters. You're kind of soaring in the sky, but the intellect is connected to the air energy. So sometimes the intellect can convince us that the material is the logical thing and everything else is just superstition and nonsense. And so maybe you do get involved with somebody who is like that. But I feel like, being ruled by Venus, you like nice things. And so you might value the person who can, help you to have those things. Maybe not just give them to you, but they also, when the two of you are working together, you have these things. But then you have no sense of emotional connection to this person. Same thing can apply to the type of work that you're doing. If you feel like you're doing work that it's, pays the bills and gives you extra money, but maybe you're working overtime and you don't have any free time, and it's like, all I do is work and I go to sleep and I'm recovering from working, I'm trapped, but I'm trapped because I make a really nice living. Maybe even if you don't work that many hours, you still feel like you are making more than maybe the average person around you, and you don't want to let that go. You're afraid of what it would mean to do that. And the thing is that I was thinking of this quote that has been used recently by Thomas Jefferson. He said something like, I prefer a dangerous freedom to a comfortable slavery, or, that kind of thing. And the point being that, when we're trapped in our comfort, where is the sense of happiness there? Sometimes people will look back on their life and that the happiest that they ever felt was when they had virtually nothing, when they were just starting out. But they had that passion for, oh my gosh, when I become successful and all this stuff. They had so many dreams. So it's not always about the material trappings. And that's why sometimes people downsize, because they realize that they want more time, that they are time impoverished. They have a lot of financial resources, but they don't have a lot of time, and they feel like there's no point to having money without time to do things on your own, even if you like what you do. So just play around with those concepts. And then we have as the higher message, so this may be something that you're grappling with. I don't know if I've ever gotten this card, and this is very interesting. Now you see, you don't have to know what each card means. You can see that this is not considered like that positive if she's got her head hanging like that. And it's funny that they put the 5 of Pentacles in this door and they have a key. So that would be interesting what she's suggesting here to unlock that door. The 5 of Pentacles, to me, is boiled down to poverty consciousness, lack consciousness. The idea that the fear that you don't have enough, and then what compels you to do different things. Now, the truth is that there is no dollar amount in the bank that is going to be a universal thing that is going to comfort people. There are people who have much more than they need, and they have this fear. And this is because, this can be a psychological issue. This could be a past life issue that they, if it's irrational and there's nothing in a person's background to suggest that they ever suffered financially, but they have this quote unquote irrational fear of poverty, then maybe it's a past life influence, and so all of that can come into play. And the thing is that it traps people. It keeps them in this slavery of spending time somewhere that they don't want to be. I think it's beautiful to offer services to others. And even if you're not in the perfect job, if you have the right mindset, you can do it very easily. But usually when a person is like that, they are just the kind of people that they're happy to work, period. When a person feels like they have a certain talent that they want to express, it becomes more, I think it becomes more difficult to do that. But I do think that that is something to aspire to focus on service to others rather than needing it to be this versus that. That is it's like Byron Katie, her book, Loving What Is. If you're in a certain place, if you make peace with that and you say, this is where I am now, and I'm going to make the most of it, then to me, that is the ultimate, Zen attitude. But, on the other hand, because we have to look at both sides, you don't want to become complacent either, where you're not sharing your gifts. If you really feel like you have certain gifts that you wish to share with the world, then I feel like at some point you do move on. The Five of Pentacles can be unemployment. But is the person afraid? Sometimes a person quits a job because they feel that they have to just break free. Perhaps it's toxic or what have you, or draining. And with the Four of Cups, that could certainly be what's going on. But the idea of being unemployed is just too much for them to bear. Only you know where you stand financially, really and truly. If a lot of people do know that they have certain issues, if you will, that make them more afraid than they have to be about something. And they can kind of like say, yeah, that's something I have to work on. And this may be the area that you have to work on, is like, why do you feel that there isn't enough to go around? Why do you feel that there will be sudden calamity if you walk away from a job? And it's good to really think things out before you act, because you may decide, actually, it's really not that bad. I just am upset. The Four of Cups can be, I'm upset with my life in general because I don't feel like I know what I want to do. And so I'm kind of feel like I'm floundering. I feel like I'm kind of, the shipwreck that's kind of just floating, on choppy waters, but I don't know exactly what to do about this. And so you're blaming this job when the job is giving you some measure of stability. The Four of Cups can be about stabilizing emotions. Maybe that's something that needs to occur more on your end. So it's not just one interpretation. It's going to depend on other factors in your life. What is crossing you is the Hierophant. So in this particular context, I would say that not trusting the spiritual, and I assume that that almost looks like the Tree of Life. And kind of, isn't it funny that you could look at that, is that the ladder, climbing the ladder of success? This is the ultimate ladder of success, because once you know who you are in relationship to your higher self, all of this doesn't matter. Think about the people who identify with what they do and how risky that is, because they think this is who I am, and then they lose their job or they have to retire, or the type of work that they do becomes obsolete, or it changes so radically that either they don't want to do it, or it's just something they would have to get retrained, or whatever. We have to see ourselves beyond things that are temporary, or otherwise we're just kind of like floating, on water, on choppy water, and not having a destination. Maybe you've been turning your back on the higher ideas of like, what did I come here to do? What is the meaning of life? What is my life philosophy? In favor of other things. And this can also apply to relationship issues. Sometimes that Hierophant, the challenge, when it's in the challenge position, the Hierophant can be somebody who's too much of a conformist, who isn't willing to stick their neck out and be different. And that can certainly happen with Libra, of wanting that approval, wanting that sense that they are doing the right thing. Nobody can tell you that. The Four of Cups can be your emotional GPS system. I'm taking that from Abraham Hicks. I think that's where I got that from. And that a lot of times our feelings will tell us whether something is right for us. I can't say 100% because sometimes feelings are deceiving. They are kind of like that reptilian side that's, totally instinctual and is not about, evolution, but just kind of like built in or karmic in some cases. Those kinds of emotional reactions that you would just normally have when you're like committed to growth, self-growth, personal growth. You stop being as reactive and you kind of take a step back, and being able to say no. These are things that are so important for Librans. Being able to say no, being able to how would I put it? Stand apart from others. The nonconformist, may stand alone and may get a lot of disapproving looks, but they're being true to themselves. They're being authentic. And I think that the Four of Cups too. I was writing about this in a comment under a video recently, and somebody was talking about depression, and I said, how do you, get to that point where you discover yourself? And I said, something to the point, or where you can see those negative emotions that the Four of Cups represents. And I said, these emotions, when you feel depressed, when you feel anxious, these are really telling you something. They're messengers. And so many times people, they don't want to hear that message. They just want it to go away. And so when you feel kind of like how that woman looks, that sense of boredom, dissatisfaction, displeasure, depression, anxiety, those are more intense feelings. It doesn't have to be. Sometimes the danger of the Four of Cups and what it represents is that it might not be at the acute level. Depression and anxiety are more acute and they get your attention more, but underneath the surface, when it's very low level, dissatisfaction, that kind of thing can be slight enough that people continue going on and doing the same thing because it's not bad enough for them to really sit up and take notice. But even, with the more intense versions of anxiety and depression, are you being true to yourself? Are you following somebody else's dream for you because you need that approval? And, the funny thing is, just like anybody else, Libra, if you do something that you don't want to do, if you say yes to something that your friends want you to do, and you go, you might be a little bit in a pissy mood. You might not be as, congenial as you normally are. So you have to remember that it's always better to do things that you want to do than feeling obligated, because then you're going to be the best version of yourself for others. You're going to show up in a very positive way with great vibes. So what's coming in, or the advice, is the Seven of Wands. This is a card of, this is interesting. I think I got it for this. I was mentioning, this is very interesting. Okay, so in a lot of the decks that I get, the Seven of Wands is showing I believe it's a man who's in a defensive posture, and they're taking one of the wands, like they're kind of fending off an attack. Now you look at this one, they're showing a woman. It might be 7, might be a feminine number, I'm not sure. But they're showing her in the lotus position or whatever. She's meditating, because the number 7, is about that. And, you can see the ether, the wands are holding her up. Now, and then that, whatever that is, that bubble, I don't know exactly what that might symbolize, but I'm sure maybe an aura or, the purity. But wands relate to the self. They're fire energy. So it's about, to thine own self be true. Now, how does that possibly relate to that idea of defending yourself? When this seems like it's a card of meditation. I have made this observation before, that I have another deck, the Wild Unknown, where they show a single candle flame. And I said that's like the eternal flame. That is honoring the self, honoring what you came here to do. And to me, that defensive posture is doing so. But because in the past we always, there's like that negative spin put on that, it almost, maybe was interpreted to mean that somebody is attacking you and now you have to defend yourself. But it was almost like this, impending violence or something to you. And this is more about like being in this bubble of self-protection. And so I really like this depiction because I think, and it's also about the wand supporting you. And so what it means to me is that when you honor what you came here to do, your unique creative self-expression, Libra, you will uplift yourself and you will naturally align yourself with more and more experiences that support that view of life. Actually, I was thinking, boy, that sounds familiar. And I'm also doing a series right now of the North Node, your natal North Node. I've done a few of them. Somebody requested having Libra North Node. So I'm probably going to do that one next. But I've only done a few of them. But you can check out my channel for that if you're interested. But the person that I got this information from about, the North Node, she was saying that that's what happens when you follow the North Node. I personally believe that the sun sign is very instrumental in this as well. As when you align with the qualities of the sun sign, that you're also going to, open those doors. So that's kind of what, the Five of Pentacles, that door and that lock. I wonder, in a weird way, if that's what it's all about, is learning how to transcend those fears of material scarcity, and you unlock the door to riches. Now, not just material riches, but your spiritual life, your sense of self, your emotions, coming from that Four of Cups, that sense of being in this disinterested, dissatisfied space into something that is really enthusiastic, which the wands represent. And one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of people, too many people in this world, go through life on automatic, and they are not stopping and smelling the roses, seeing small things, you know what I mean? I don't drive, I ride a bicycle, and sometimes when I'm riding, not too long ago, I saw a caterpillar. No, actually, it just started crawling on me, and I just like stopped, and I was just fascinated by this, and I was like watching it on me, and I was taking it, and I wanted to make sure that it was in the grass. I didn't want it to get run over and all this stuff. And, you know, people are going by, and this is what children do. And I don't have children. I'm my own child. But getting in touch with your inner child. The Four of Cups can be somebody who has lost contact with that inner child. And it's so important to not just take life so seriously that you forget that you are here for joy as well. And the outcome card is your, you know, element of air, the swords, Ace of Swords. Now look at that. Here we have the ace, which is the beginning, the catalyst. And look at that. This is like the, I don't know if that's the pineal gland. I like to call it pineal gland. I don't know the proper pronunciation. Now, this is, you know, the back of the head, the sixth chakra maybe, which is actually the between the eyebrows, but the pineal gland or something like that. Now, this is true thought. This is higher thought. This is not about regurgitating other people's ideas. This is about you. It's like that aha moment, perhaps. And in September, you're going to have a new moon, your solar return. The new moon is in October, but you're going to have your solar return. Sun is going to go in. It's a power period. It's the equinox. But this is a new, you know, this can be anticipating that. But see, the Ace of Swords to me is a card of maybe having been in denial, maybe having been covered with something, with the Four of Cups, covered with this heaviness that was coming from a diluted idea of who you were. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to leave that there, but I feel like it's an awakening of sorts. And what a great card to end with. So I hope that you enjoyed this, Libra. And if you'd like a private reading, I am promoting a combination 2 full-length readings, natal chart interpretation plus full-length tarot reading. And the natal chart interpretation also includes transits for the next year. So as you are going through your, if you're watching for, it could be even the sun in Libra, I guess. But with the sun in Libra, you're having your birthday, and you have a rising sign that might be, you know, who knows what it is. And that gives you totally different dates for these astrological readings that you watch on YouTube. So this can, you know, I like to talk about the themes that are coming up in the upcoming 12 months for the person. And this is just the kind of time when people tend to want that kind of thing. That double reading is a special price. It's actually a deep discount, and it's called the Whole Enchilada. I have other readings available. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Take care.